Hello and welcome to my video all about how to hem your jeans by hand whilst keeping the original hem. Here you can see a few things that will come in handy for this tutorial, including a hand sewing needle that can pass through denim, a ruler, a pair of sharp fabric scissors, and some sewing thread. You will also need some sewing pins, an iron, and an ironing board. Some way of marking the denim, such as with a chalk marker or a disappearing fabric pen, could also come in handy but is optional. Another optional extra is pinking shears. You'll also obviously need a pair of jeans to hem. If the jeans are brand new, make sure they are washed before you hem them. Okay, so the first step is to put on the jeans and decide how long you want them to be. Insert a sewing pin horizontally at that point. Repeat this step for the other leg of the jeans. Then you can take the jeans off. The next step is to measure the depth of the hem at the bottom of your jeans leg. This is the hem we're going to keep attached to the jeans. In my case, the depth of the hem is 1/2 inch, and I imagine this is a standard size, so it's very likely yours will be the same. You then take that measurement and double it. So in my case, that's 2 times 1/2 inch, which is 1 inch. You then need to take the sewing pin marker that you've just put in your jeans and move it up the leg by that measurement. So in my case, I move the sewing pin upwards away from the hem by 1 inch. The amount you move your pin might be slightly different depending on the depth of your hem. The reason we're moving the pin is because we need to take account of the fact we're going to be keeping that hem, and it's basically going to be added onto the leg of your jeans. And then you need to fold the hem of the jeans leg upwards and outwards, so that it lines up with the sewing pin marker. In my case, the amount that's folded over is 2 3/8 of an inch. Whatever your measurement is, you now need to make sure that the folded up piece of fabric is the same depth all the way around, and then you need to pin it in place. I particularly need to make sure that the side seams line up, and pin these in place individually. Now the leg of the jeans has been turned up and pinned, we're going to start sewing. We're going to be sewing in the ditch, as it were, which means we're going to be sewing in the little valley right next to the original hem. This will attach the original hem back onto the jeans along this line. I'm going to be using a strong polyester thread in a colour that matches my jeans. You want to cut a piece of thread that's a decent length, but also not so long that it will tangle easily. As a guide, I like to use a piece of thread that's no longer than my arm. You then need to tie a knot at one end of the thread and feed the other end through the needle. It's best to start sewing on a side seam, just because those areas are a bit less visible. To secure the thread to start with, I go in and out of the side seam. We're now going to backstitch, travelling to the left. So we first send the needle through both layers of denim to the back. During this sewing step, you want to use a stitch length of no more than 1/4 inch. Remember that the shorter the stitches, the stronger the seam. So you bring your needle from back to front, through the denim, 2 stitch lengths to the left. Then you go through the denim from front to back, 1 stitch length to the right. And then you repeat those 2 steps. So move 2 stitch lengths to the left and come through the denim from back to front. Then go through the denim from front to back, 1 stitch length to the right. And then you simply repeat this all the way around. it's likely that you'll run out of thread before you can complete it. So to change thread, you first need to secure the end of the current thread. To do this, finish with your needle to the back, inside the leg of the jeans. Then take your needle in and out of the denim in that same area. Tighten the thread until there's just a small loop remaining. Take the needle through that loop and tighten. And then you do that again. So you take the needle in and out of the denim in the same spot. Take the needle through the loop that forms and tighten. I did this 3 times to make sure it was well secured. You then start sewing with another piece of thread, as you did before. Once you've finished back stitching, you should have something that looks like this, where the edge of the original hem is strongly secured onto the jeans. You then take your pinking shears or fabric scissors and cut off the excess fabric. So you cut off the unwanted denim that's folded over, leaving no more than 1 centimetre of fabric. Using pinking shears helps to prevent the edges from fraying, but I'm also going to whip stitch over the edges to further prevent them from fraying. To do this, I cut another length of thread, tie a knot in one end and feed the other end through the hand sewing needle. I then push the needle through the fabric from back to front, near to the edge. Then I move slightly to the left and repeat. So I take the needle from back to front and then repeat. Then move a little to the left and repeat. The gaps between the stitches want to be no more than 1/4 inch. And you just keep repeating that all the way around. This is called a whip stitch, and basically you're just wrapping the raw edges with thread, which helps to prevent it from fraying. Once you've finished, you need to secure the end of the thread as usual. So you go from back to front, but instead of tightening the thread completely, you take the needle through the loop that forms and pull tight. Do this a couple of times and then cut off the excess thread. And that's it, you've now finished sewing your hem. The last step is to press the hem on both sides with your iron. You want to press it so that the excess fabric lies flat against the denim above the hem, as shown here. And as you can see, the result is very neat and almost seamless. And then you repeat all of those steps again for the other leg. I really hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.